Okay, we're gonna go ahead and open up our images that we saved, our favorite images for our still life or whatever else assignment you're using this for. And so what you wanna do is log yourself into photopea.com. I'd highly recommend logging yourself into an account so that it has some extra saving there for you as well. And so go ahead and do that. And then let me click out of that. What I want you to do is open up from your computer. Now on your Chromebook, that's going to bring you to your drive. And so then you'll be able to find your images. For me, I have it on my Mac. And so I have it in a folder that I have left like my favorite images. So I saved a few. And so I'm going to go ahead and find the one I want to use. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. And so this photo was taken by me. And so I can use the whole thing for my drawing. However, for you, because it doesn't belong to you, you will not be able to use it. So you're going to need to crop it and to look for good composition. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is select this cropping function right here off the side. I'm going to use this cropping tool. I'm going to click on that. And what I'm going to do is go to up at the top here, it says fixed ratio, free ratio, fixed size. I'm actually going to go to fixed ratio. And what I want you to do is I want you to type in. So the width, is how wide it is. And then the height of it. What we're going to do is make it the size of the drawing. So I'm going to say 12 by 9. Okay. And so what that's going to do is it already magically put a rectangle on here that is 12 by 9. Now for some reason I can't see it, but it's actually there because I can see this little square right here. So I'm actually going to go to view and I'm going to go to zoom out. And what that's going to do is shrink the image so that I can see the whole thing. So I'm going to use this rectangle to select what part of the composition I want to use. So it's a fixed ratio. So if I click the corner, it's going to keep it in the shape. If you're not using a fixed ratio, but you like the shape you have when you crop, one of the things you want to do is hit the shift button and then drag a corner, and that will always make sure that it is the same. And so you want to place your rectangle, you can drag the corner to kind of figure out your placement. I don't want to stick the pumpkin in the center. I want to shift the weight off to the side. Thinking about the rule of thirds, we have these imaginary lines coming down vertically and then imaginary lines coming across horizontally. I want to make sure that my focal point is not directly centered. And I'm just clicking on my mouse and moving with my finger this rectangle until I'm happy. And so when you're cropping, you want to make sure that you have at least foreground, middle ground, and background, which means you need to have 3 levels of space. So I have things in the front, middle, and background. We don't want to crop in so much that we only have part of something or that we only have a single object. We want to include the imagery so that we have basically like a 60-40 split. And so I'm going to keep moving around this composition until I'm happy. And then when I'm happy, I can hit the enter button and it's going to make it so that this image is smaller. Now, let's say I'm not happy with that. I can go back in here and do it again if I want to get rid of some more of the image. If I don't like what I did and I hit enter and it's like, oh no, it's there. One thing you can do is go to history and you can drag things into the trash. Another thing you can do is just go up to edit and undo. And that will take you back to the next step. So the past step, I should say. I also want to make sure that you know that you can change these proportions. So instead of it being width of 12, you could always make that 9 and then make the height 12. And so once again, you can see it basically moved that on me. And so if I drag the corner, because it's that fixed, it can also make it into a vertical. So once again, keeping things out of the dead center, figuring out what part of the composition I want to use, and then hit enter if I'm happy. Okay, I'm not happy, so I'm going to go back to my original image here. So if I went to look at the file image of this, I used a very good camera to take these pictures. So this file image is going to be really big. So what you want to do is go to image, right? Go to image, image size. And what I want you to do is select inches over here. So it's probably going to be on pixels, but you want to switch it to inches. And what I'd like you to do is the width is longer than the height here. So I'm going to put this in as 12 and put this as 9. Right? And I'm actually going to go 300 and hit OK. And so what that's going to do is save my image to a really good quality. And if I go in and go to view again and zoom in, it should look pretty clear. If I didn't change it and I kept it at, like, let's say 72, it might be a little fuzzy. So I want to make sure that this is really clear. I think most of these photos are probably okay. We could tweak things as well. Going to image and adjustments. We could make it more bright. We could give it more contrast. I don't want to go too crazy with these things. But here's one of my favorite settings to play with. Is I can move these sliders over. You can see if I move the white, it adds more white. If I move the gray, it makes things more gray. Sometimes I just tweak the black just a little bit, so there's a little bit more range of value. But you don't have to mess with that. For most of these photos are going to be good. And then hit OK. And then what I'm going to have you guys do is go to File, Save As. We're going to save this as a JPEG. So you're going to save it, and it's going to export it. I normally like the quality to be as high as possible, so I would go ahead and hit Save. Right, and I put it in inches so that I can see that as well. And so what you can do now is use this image that you've saved to your downloads. You can place that in your Google folder so that you have access for it. You're going to want to put it in your process portfolio as well. But you can use it from the computer screen, which actually has pretty good quality. It should be very clear and be able to see a wide range of value. But if you're someone who needs to detach from your technology, you can obviously print this high quality black and white if you need to. If you can't print it at home and you want a printout, you could send it to me and I could print it on one of the better printers at our school, and then you'd have to pick it up at school in order to get that. So try these steps, pause and play as you go, and try to come up with a good composition that is balanced, has your 3 levels of space, and where your focal point is not set in the center.